Hi, I am Nick Rijmakers, here to show you the Author Dispatcher demo of the Layout Web Content Management Pages header and footer solution. I will now demo to you how the project looks on the Author view, give you a walkthrough on the structure and page configurations in the Author. Then I will give you a demo on the Dispatcher and show the functionality of the example project, namely the Sling Dynamic Include and HTTP Cache in action. So you can see that it's actually working. So let's get started. So right in front of me here, I have the structure of the example project. If you clone the GitHub project and then actually just do a Maven clean install with the profile auto install package, then you will get the same structure. So you get a nice demo and you can see for yourself. So here it is. It's really simple. Just a content page like a regular page, which loads in a header and a footer. And the header and footer that it loads in is here the header example under headers, and the footer is footer example under footers. So first of all, how does it reference that header and footer? Well, that I can show you by just going to the properties of this page. Under the tab Layout Settings, you can see here, okay, a header path and a footer path. Please select a header page to render the page header with. And as we configured it already, it's here, header example and footer example. So this tells the template to use these pages to render the header and the footer. So I'm going to just open this page up and just show it to you. Again, no CSS here. I just kept it really simple. Maybe I should add CSS to make it more fancy, but I don't really have time. So bear with me here. So this here is the header. Really simple here, a placeholder for the logo component. Right now just text, but it could be maybe a link with an image that the author can configure. And over here, just some HTML, some divs from the menu. So this is built up basically using the pages underneath. So if I go to the header and if I see here, then you see here these items correspond to the items here. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, right. So that's those items, and then here we have the script basically to change the cookie to show the personalization in action, which I'll get back to later. Then here we have just content, really simple. It's just an image and some text, just to demonstrate that this is an actual normal page that loads in the header and footer. And here's the footer content. Okay. So then I'm just gonna show you basically the header itself. So as you can see here, it's only the header and nothing else. It's an ideal place here to configure stuff that is equally the same for every single page in the environment that goes in the header. So for instance, the logo, maybe breadcrumbs, maybe a context menu or some icons or legal text, whatever you need. So right now I just have an empty placeholder here, but you could make this again in some image with a link on it and have the author configure it. And then they could create a header with a slightly different logo, say something with Christmas or whatever, a campaign. This would provide you the flexibility. The menu actually is not a component that you can configure on this page itself. And the reason being is that the menu usually, carries a lot of complexity. and maybe not at the start of a project, but certainly as the project progresses. Usually in most projects, new requirements get added all the time as the development progresses. And the menu gets so complex that it would be really a bad idea to configure this just in one dialog on this page. So instead, what we've done here, we have the menu component basically utilize the children of the header page itself to render itself, and the configuration is contained in the dialogues of these child pages. So the link that's for each menu entry, the link is actually configured on the dialog of this page. So if we go here to home, go to properties, and I go here, and actually I just didn't really put a good target here, but the link is configured over here. So maybe I should change it just as an example. Oh, oops. Let's see. I go to, let's say the Germany, just for fun. I go to the German homepage. And I save that. So if we have additional properties for the menu entry, such as analytics or style or whatever, it would all be contained in the dialogues here. So also the sub entries of those menu entries, of course, go under the pages here, and you can go as deep as you like. You can have sub entries, or there's no limit in that. So that's basically the basic example. And also, if you then say, well, I need a menu entry that looks slightly different, if the author chooses to do it, then using Sling and the template manager, you can create a different template. So here I can show you what we've done here. So here is the standard menu entry, just really, in our hypothetical case, just a normal entry. But say we want one that is slightly different and renders a bit different. Maybe in the real project you want, say, a teaser or a flyout or something next to a regular item. Then in this case I just demonstrated, like, okay, using the templates you can do this. So say we want something that's different. I'm going to say, okay, a different menu entry, and I'm going to configure a link. Let's see, about us. Okay, done. So this will be rendered a bit different. And of course, I'm also will show you maybe a sub entry underneath here just to demonstrate the functionality. The template manager and the IM templates will, make sure that the author can only create the appropriate pages under the correct level. So this will make sure that the correct rendition will be put out and the author doesn't have to think about it. So in this case, you can see that we can only select a sub entry page and not the main entry because we're on this level. So a special sub entry page. Just put that. Okay, done. So yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, I think I should also configure a link. Just configure any link, doesn't really matter for this demo. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to show in the author dialog is we also have personalization in this demo, and this personalization is done on a cookie named user group. So this cookie could be set by your front-end code logging in either using IM or some middleware to a system, and then the response of the login, if successful, would give you some user group value, and then your front end would store that in a cookie, and that way IAM can serve different headers based on that value. In this case, I made it very simple: administrators and editors. And well, in this case, I'm just going to say editors. So this would mean that this item would only be displayed to requests that have a user group cookie with the value editors. If not, it should be left out. It should be filtered. So I'm going to save and close this. So yeah, that's I'm going to just show you that first here on the offer view. Okay, so let's see. Yeah. So on the regular view, or first of all, maybe I should show it in the inspection show, just to show you that there's an actual structure here that looks nicely behind it. It's just that there's no CSS. But as you can see, for every entry here, we have a div class main entry. These don't have children, so, but here you can see that there's a link configured. And here, this one does have children, so I should see under here, aha, sub entries, and under sub entries, we see, for instance, here a sub entry that's configured. Okay, so here's the structure that gets put out by Sling. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the personalization. If I select admin, then I only see these items, and if I select editor, then these items also pop up, including the entry we just created with the value just show for editors. So this comes, well, this is a effect of us setting the cookie and then the component menu filter component reacting on this. Now, of course, this is really easy on the offer because there's no cache. And because there's no cache, we don't have to do anything fancy. But now we get to the dispatcher, and then this page is cached. And then there will be no reaction here. Or even worse, if the first request is the editor, then that will be rendered and cached, and then anybody else will actually see this outcome. So we get still content. So that's not what we want. So I'm going to demo the Sling dynamic include and the HTTP cache that solves this problem on the dispatcher. But before I do that, I need to actually publish these pages. Just making sure that I published everything here. Okay. All right, so this should be published, and I just want to make sure I published everything here. Okay, so let's get a view up of the publisher. I'm just gonna, let's see. Okay, here I have it. So here you can see this is the publisher view, and also here that code actually works here as well, while it's actually cached. So how does this work? Well, let's inspect the body. And as you can see here, there's a comment printed out by the Sling dynamic include module that says, okay, this is performed using SDI, and the path basically is the path we configured by the author. So here you can see content layout, WCM headers, header example, JCR content, dot content, no cache. So this no cache is just to bust the internal dispatcher cache, not the HTTP cache. That's quite confusing, but that's the case. So we do actually have a cache behind here. This is the resource type, of course. Here you can see the header page that we use. So there you go. Here you can see that it's actually performed using SDI. So that's why every time we change the cookie, we get a different header variant. That leads us to the next question. What about performance? Because this means that on every request, this will be loaded in. And, we have a lot of traversing over here, traversing action. This menu actually renders by traversing all the children and putting all kinds of HTML together, and this can get quite heavy. So this could be really taxing on a publisher environment, especially under a environment where there are a lot of requests getting fired. So to solve this, we utilize ACS Commons HTTP cache, and I already went through that in previous demonstrations, but in this case I just want to show you the JMX console. So here's the JMX console of the HTTP cache store, the memory cache which we configured, and right now it's empty because I didn't fire any request yet. But now if I refresh, you can see, here's some entries, and since I hit that drop down and switched views, there are 2 entries created. But just the demo, I'm going to clear the entire cache and just show you basically. Alright, so this is, let's start with the admin view. And now you can see, okay, the first request we get in, here is the key that we created, basically the 2-string representation. So that is the resource path, and then the cookie key value map with the key user group equals administrators. And then we can also just check it out. We can actually get the string contents here by using this. And here you can see this is the actual header that's put in the HTTP cache, and this will be served directly from here. So the dispatcher will perform a SSI, server-side include, to the publisher, but on the publisher, the filter chain will intercept this request and just immediately serve this content from the memory. So this is very efficient. So there's no real taxation here on the server. And again, if I actually then start spamming this here, the hits should increase. So as you can see here, the hits increase. And you can see here, total size served from cache 9 kilobytes. And of course, if we change to a different view, to say editors, then you can see a new entry gets created, a separated entry with different HTML, also cached. So there you go. And this has the 4 editors only in it. Oh, wrong page. And again, also this will increase the hit count